Good evening, good afternoon. Welcome back to High Top Sports Oregon. Boy, we're back, and there's been some turbulence in the Ducks' flight lately, but we're trying to put this show together, and we get a big time commit out of a 2026 guy. Let's go ahead and break that down before we get into the turbulence and roster needs and the other stuff. 2026 running back, Tredarian Ball commits. What do you think about that, Derek?
Yeah, this is someone we were just talking about over the last 2 weeks here, who's picked up a lot of momentum for Oregon. And ultimately, it is a big pickup. He's ranked as the number two composite back according to 24/7 in the 26 class. So anytime you bring in someone, with that caliber of talent, you obviously love to see that. And, he comes out of a place that Duck fans are pretty familiar with. He comes out of the same city as LaMichael James did in Texarkana, Texas. So a little familiarity there. But yeah, it's major news. Ever since Rashad Samples came in, joined this coaching staff here, he's absolutely crushed it, and he's continuing to do so in the 26 cycle. So that's pretty encouraging to see.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely a big time get. And it's a get that you definitely want to get early, and he can help build the class offensive line wise. Quarterback, a true talent might end up being a 5 star at the end of this deal. 2026. Listen, they haven't even figured out 2025 guys yet, so there's some time for him to rise in the rankings, as long as he stays healthy and everything. I think it's a great pickup. It's one of those. He is one of those backs that can. Everybody says, "Oh, he can do it all." No, this kid can definitely do it all. You can split him out wide. He just reminds me of a prototypical Oregon running back. Here you see him catching that's the extension of the run right there. You get him in space, and he's off to the races.
Yeah, absolutely. He once again falls under that category of something we've talked about multiple times with these Oregon commits. Is he brings an element of versatility to it. Obviously, as you can see from his film, when you break it down, he can split out wide. He can jump into the slot. Obviously, be effective out of the backfield as well. So that's definitely something you like to see with your backs, and something that is pretty vital to this Oregon offense. But yeah, like you said, pretty major pickup out of the state of Texas. I don't think this is obviously one where Oregon fans should get extremely comfortable with it. When you land a commitment of the following year's class before this one has even locked down, and we have plenty of time in this 25 cycle yet, just be a little weary of your commitment there. I do think Texas, obviously, that's something we were just talking about last show too, is Texas, when they see a running back they tend to be able to, secure the commitment of that running back, especially when it's right in their own backyard. So I expect them to continue to push for it. Obviously, a school like Texas A&M, once again, right in their backyard. So I absolutely expect them to be a factor as this continues. But yeah, absolutely a major starting piece to this 26 class, and one that's off to a very good start in terms of the quality they were able to bring in.
For sure. Great catching the ball out of the backfield. Great with the screens. Definitely a scat back, but he doesn't really go east and west. He's more of a north and south guy. One cut and go, and he's off to the races. And I really like that kind of back. Definitely a little thinner build. I'm not saying he's frail, but a
Mhm.
kid that is a little bit thinner. He's not going to be a bruiser. He's 180. He's 5'10". They'll definitely put some weight on him, but just an overall get 47 nationally. Guys in the top 60, 70, they can come in and they can start hunting for some playing time right away.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when you're talking about, the next year's class as well, because obviously, as we know, the year's going to go on, and people are going to rise and fall within the rankings, and they're going to attend camps, and, their ratings will be adjusted that way. And if all goes to plan here, Tredarian, his ranking will once again go up, and I could see him ending this year's class or next year's class with a 5-star ranking once we, get to that point. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm really excited about this one, to be real honest. You think about every really effective Oregon running back that you can think of in, recent history, and they're able to do a multitude of things. You think about the Bucky Irving, and, obviously he's known for his incredible runs, but he could also be a little sneakily effective out of the backfield.
Yep.
Um, So you love to see that. But yeah, and then when you mentioned like the height and weight, you know, you kind of see that 5'10", 180, and you're not thinking he's necessarily that bruiser. You think he's gonna, you know, he's gonna play that east to west game and try to catch you off balance and, you know, make that cut in that way. But he doesn't really play that way. He plays a little bit bigger to his size, and I do think that, you know, as the next year and a half goes on, he will be able to put on some size in the Texas strength and conditioning programs in their high school league. And obviously, you know, once he gets to the collegiate level, that'll probably be a focal point for him.
For sure, for sure. And I am going to be doing a film breakdown, a full film breakdown of Mr. Ball. That will be out, and then I'm going to add it to the end of this video. So if you guys want to see the full breakdown of the young man, just go ahead and click the link when it pops up at the end of this video, and we will have you rocking and rolling for that. All right, time to get into the bad news. Turbulence in the Ducks flight. The Flying V is missing a couple edge pieces, and boy, oh boy, losing prospects. Do I think it's you know, hit the break the glass and hit the alarm? No, but definitely losing some kids. It seems like they're not 100% decommitted yet. They're still fighting for some guys. I think one of the young men is decommitted, right?
As of yesterday. Yep. That's correct.
So definitely a long
So yeah.
line. Go ahead.
Yeah. So yeah, yesterday, obviously, Josiah Sharma obviously decommitted from Oregon after committing just a few weeks ago. You know, at the time, it was kind of a surprise commitment because many people viewed Texas as the leader in his commitment the entire way, and then kind of hit us with that surprise right at the end there, and ended up committing with the Ducks. Got back on campus in Texas and decided that ultimately that's where he wanted to commit. So, you know, he committed to Sark down in Texas. Obviously, you know, one place you never want to see yourself lose commits is off the defensive line in the trenches specifically.
Yeah.
So that one does hurt in that regard. I expect that to be, you know, a point of emphasis through as the cycle continues. But then the other two kind of we were alluding to Isaiah Mosey, who is currently on campus at Nebraska as we film this today. His father did just get a position with the Nebraska coaching staff. And, you know, this is one that we've talked about for the last week or so. I do think he will ultimately end up decommitting from Oregon and commit to Nebraska, where I do think he'll end up, you know, ultimately with his father being there. I think that plays a major role. And then the other one is Desan Brame, the 4-star tight end who had just committed, I believe, 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
You know, it was down to Oregon and Tennessee. You know, chose Oregon right at the end. But, you know, as we film this once again right now, he is in Knoxville on campus there right now. And, you know, there are multiple predictions from, you know, the various recruiting sites that do expect him to ultimately flip his commitment to Tennessee. So that one would hurt a little bit. But, you know, we just got to see how these things play out. You know, there's so many times we've seen, you know, played the hearsay role and you kind of get these rumors flying around and then nothing has ever come of it.
Sure.
But this is one where, yeah, but this is one where the other two guys, Mosey and Brame, I do expect both of them to end up decommitting.
Yeah. So I think, you know, I broke down the defensive line. If there was a guy you could probably swing and miss on, I think that young man out of the bunch that I saw, I think that young man, I'm not saying that he is less talented. I'm saying that I thought the other guys had better film. So it doesn't, I feel like that you're okay there. And then the wide receiver room, you guys are just so stacked. Now, next year, it seems like recruiting class wise is healthy. You didn't lose your big names. I think it's a guy that you can go and replace pretty easy. I think there's a lot of wide receivers out there right where he's ranked, that you can go and snatch. I'm not worried about it. And then the tight end, we talked about the tight end. I feel like you can go pick one of those guys up in the transfer portal and have extreme success with that. You never want to lose players, right? But when you're pumping out historic for Oregon recruiting classes, you're gonna miss on some guys because, you know, as soon as they commit to Oregon, these you know, even if they don't have a lot of offers, these teams are saying, "Whoa, wait, what happened? He's committed to Oregon. Let's go check the film, see what this guy has," and then it opens the floodgates. So especially with these lower 3-star and 4-star guys. When they get that big first offer, it seems like the floodgates open. The cookie can't stay in the cookie jar too long. A lot of hands trying to go get it for sure.
Yeah, and that's kind of Sharma to a T because there's so much ambiguity between his rankings on the various sites. You know, there are certain sites who view him substantially higher than the others,
Hmm.
which at this point it, almost impossible to predict which one is more correct and which one's not. So just remember we're in July. These rankings are going to continue to shake, and there's going to be updates, and kids are going to continue to go to camps, and things are going to happen. um, all right, so yeah, guys like Sharma, where there's a big difference between his rankings on the various sites. It's almost impossible to kind of predict these rankings as we sit here in July, and things are going to continue to shake. But like you mentioned, kind of in today's day with the transfer portal era kind of being upon us, and kind of the depth of what we were able to bring in last year's and the year before that cycle, I still feel pretty confident about where we sit with things right here in late July. But, to your point, you never want to lose commits, especially when we're talking about 3 of them in a span of 1 week.
Yeah, for sure. But like I said, don't hit the glass, don't break the glass, and sound the alarm, because I think Dan Lanning and company, they're going to be fine. These kids, they'll flip around, and by the end of the recruiting class on signing day, you guys will done have forgot about them. So let's go ahead and let's get into what their needs are. Duck position and needs this fall. What are you thinking that their biggest positions and needs are?
Yeah, I mean, we just kind of prefaced to the first one to me is the defensive line. That's one where every year cycle I want to see that defensive line class come in and be able to see difference makers right away. So that's one I think absolutely will be a focal point as Oregon navigates the rest of this 25 cycle. And then the other one that just really intrigues me to see how they're gonna handle it is the linebacker position. It's at this point right now. Oregon's in on a couple guys, but it's like it doesn't feel like there's a solid foundation of the direction that they're going to go with this linebacker position in the 25 class. So I'm really kind of curious to see how they carry that one out. And then, obviously that safety position, it's just so much in the air with that one between, the Jonah Williams and the Trey McNutts of the world, and how that one's going to shake out. And if, could they get one? Could they get both? Where do we go if none of them come? And, there's just kind of a lot of question marks at that position as well. So those are kind of the 3 spots I'm watching, which just all happen to be on the defensive side of the ball.
Gotcha. So definitely big positions of need. And they're gonna have to get some guys, and the biggest thing is with this is um, you might lose some guys coming around in the fall, just to injury. The injury bug starts hitting, and it's tough.
Yeah, and it's like we said, we're sitting here in July. Uh, you know, last year at July, if we would have had this conversation, and I would have asked somebody to write down, how I thought this class would have finished last year, nobody would have gotten it. There were just so many things that happen in that late cycle that just make it almost impossible to predict here in July. There are going to be names that pop up on signing day that we didn't even know we were aware of. One that really comes to mind for me is like Dalen Austin from a couple years ago, who was just reinstated for Oregon. He was known as an LSU lock. Signing day gets here, out of left field for Duck fans completely. Decides to flip to Oregon. And the rest is history there. So those type of things are going to happen. We're going to see some more guys decommit. It's just the nature of the beast. People are going to realize they have different priorities than they originally thought. Some people are going to want to play closer to home. Some people, maybe NIL is more of a factor. Maybe playing time shakes out. Kind of watching to see how the season goes. I think about programs like Miami. They're in on a lot of major recruits, and a lot of these guys are just going to sit and wait to see how the fall plays out for these teams. So,
Yeah.
it's no reason to hit the panic button at this point. We should all feel very comfortable about where Oregon sits, and confident that we're going to be able to close out this class the way that we want to.
Yeah, for sure. A little shorter one for you guys today, but definitely want to get an episode out. We're trying to get to that magic 1,000 subscribers, get this thing monetized, and start helping out Derek's jersey collection because they are expensive and they seem to be dropping them left and right.
Oh yeah, we got a couple dropping here, or late summer, early fall. So, just kind of preparing the pocketbook for that one. Absolutely love YouTube to be able to help me out with that. You know what I'm saying?
For sure, for sure. All right, guys. Like I said, we will have a film breakdown of Mr. Ball at the end of this video. There will be a little link. You can hit the box if you want to go and watch that. That'll be a full film breakdown by me. And then we will get you probably later this week. It seems like the Ducks are just staying hot and they are constantly trending. So we will keep you up to date. Go ahead, hit the sub, hit the bell, hit the like, and we will see you later.